All right, welcome back, viewers, to another edition of Heads Up. And gee, welcome back. And it was like Christmas last week, wasn't it? At Te Rapa races, all those Group 1 races, and the Shark, and all those good horses appearing. And gee, you were there, and a good crowd there too, wasn't there? Not as big as I thought it would be, but still a decent crowd. So,
Yeah,
what were your thoughts about last week?
yeah. Good morning to you too, Neil. I think it was a day for the purists. The racing
Yeah,
action really was the highlight of the day, and the quality of horseflesh on display. I think we saw two superstar performances, one by Te Akau Shark and one by To Illicit, winning their respective races on the day. Very enjoyable day. Good to see you on track and catch up, and we had a few laughs and enjoyed ourselves, and it was a good atmosphere up in that room, and well
it
done to the
was.
club too.
Yeah, no, it's good to have a good view of the bird cage and the races. It just makes a good day out. You're not rushing to get a good position to watch the races. So no, well done, Te Rapa. And the Herbie Dyke. I don't know, Rockham would. The more I
Go
look at
on,
that
say it.
race,
You,
he
you,
should
you
have
want to
won.
bag the you want to bag the jockey again. I know what you're
No,
saying.
I can see what he was trying to do, just to get him to relax, get back, but he just got too far back. And the crucial point for me, looking at that replay, he had an ideal opportunity to get in on the fence behind Camino Rocoso early on, and with Gino Severini on his outer, that was going to go ahead of it. So he would have been three back in it in the perfect spot, and he would have won from there. So anyway, that's racing. But no,
He's
well
a bit of
done.
a heartbreak horse, isn't he, Rock
He
on Wood?
is.
Do you think? I haven't closely studied the replays, probably not as closely as you, but if he had got to the outside rather than angling, had to lose a bit of momentum heading for that inside run, or you don't think that would have mattered?
No. I just think that he lost it at the post first time round. We had a chance to push under Bowden, get on the fence, let Gino Severini go ahead of him, which he was going to do all the time, and be three back in it, and about 3-4 lengths closer than he was in the running. So easy being Harry hindsight, but that was the winning. That was the winning of the or the losing of the race. But yeah, true enough, that was a great run, Tiptronic, and no,
Good for the owners of Tiptronic. Pretty cheap buy and been a
yeah,
consistent horse. I think it ran second in the race last year, or placed in the race last year. So good to see them pick up that race, and good for Graham Richardson. He probably went to the races thinking he might have a chance of winning a Group 1 race, perhaps with Volpe Veloce, but in
yeah,
the end it was Tiptronic who did the business for him.
yeah. And see, you mentioned Volpe Veloce. I see she was reported to be sore afterwards, so she had every chance where she was, and just did disappoint. But we know why now. But and Te Akau Shark, gee, wasn't he just devastating?
How did his sectionals look to you? You're a man that, I know you spoke to the owners and told them that he's run sectionals at very few horses you've clocked over the last 30 years of run. Was his sectionals for that last 400, 200 splits good enough, in your opinion, to win a big race in Australia?
They weren't the best he's ever done. They were sort of level. I've been about 11 seconds, and he's run sort of 10.4s and 5s and another 10 seconds either side in some races. So he's definitely got some improvement there. And he looked like he had some improvement, obviously, last Saturday. But his last 600 metres was the equal fastest all day with the horse you skillfully selected in the last race.
Really?
33.61. Yeah, yeah. And on
Yeah,
that
no.
last race, yeah,
Well, I'll tell you, you've raised it now, so we have to tell a story. So
yeah,
we had a little syndicate on the day, and I didn't realise that I was assigned the task of picking the last race. So I was kind of busy and not up
yeah.
with the play. So I came back into the room, and Luke from Boys Get Paid had put 4 names of horses into a little glass there, all screwed up, so I didn't know which was which. And he just said, pick out one of these. And luckily we picked out Angaria, and so all the money went on, and home she rolled.
Yeah.
Is it she or he? It's a he.
He must be
I think it's
he,
a
I
he.
think. But yeah, have you heard this part 2 of that story?
Go on, you tell the rest.
All the names of the horses were Angari in the last race in the jar.
Is that right?
No, I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Uh,
Uh,
no, geez, it was. I thought it got beaten actually at first look, but Opie Boston factor again got it up.
yeah,
Opie rode him, eh? Yeah,
yeah, I hope he
yeah, yeah.
definitely rode.
Yeah,
I'm
no. It
just
was a great
annoying
way to
me
finish
now.
the race. Yeah.
I know it's it is, just to confirm, put everyone out of their misery. Angaria is pretty sure it's a gelding. 3-year-old brown gelding, correct.
Good.
Yep,
Oh,
so
yeah,
he,
okay. And we can't
yeah.
let the morning go by without mentioning Two Illicit. Gee, wasn't that devastating?
Well, I read a tweet that you reckon that her sectionals were right up there with the Herbie Dyke field, and that's a good sign going forward to the Derby.
Yeah.
Strong to the line, 2400 is going to suit. Likes Ellerslie, got the right training jockey combination, been there, done that before many times. So,
yeah,
hard to beat.
True, right?
If
Yeah.
Dragon Leap won by 5 lengths tomorrow, could be a hell of a match race, but
Won't happen.
yeah,
No, but
won't happen.
I'm sure. No, I think that Two Illicit, her section, I won't bore you with the figures, but comparing them with the Herbie Dyke, everything says she's a really good filly. So she's a realistic chance in that Derby. Only thing is, did she peak there? You just don't know. She won easing down, but being a filly, you just don't know until the big day. But two very good trainers, so you think they would know what they were doing. But, okay, on to anything else from last Saturday you want to mention? Or?
Oh, we'll touch on the rugby part of the day later on.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that later on, but we'll go to the racing tomorrow, highlighted by the Avondale Guineas and Avondale Cup, obviously at Ellerslie, races 6 and 7. As always, you've done your homework on these races, so we'll kick it off, Neil, with race 6 tomorrow, the Guineas, and the horse we've already touched on. Where is he? Dragon Leap. Is a $1.90 favourite in the Jamison Park Avondale Guineas, $1.90 and from a $2 opening quote. Scratched last week due to an elevated temperature. Hasn't raced now for some 45 odd days. Is that a worry in your mind?
Surely it's got to be, doesn't it? 45-day break, temperature rise last week. He's obviously trained on well, but gee, Lance O'Sullivan said, or Andrew Scott said, they're just going to ride him cold. He's going to be 3 or 4 back on the fence. Any horse that's going to be 3 or 4 back on the fence, there's not going to be a lot of pace in this race. $1.90, $1.95. Would you want any other horse? I suppose you wouldn't be on, but he's such a good horse. But I just couldn't have him at that price, so I've gone for Sherwood Forest. He's drawn well. His time last start beating older horses was really good. 215 point something, beating Paisley Park, which was the Dunstan Feeds winner. Just you can see why he's been backed in, I think, from $4 into $3.80, $3.60 or something. But he's a good horse in the right spot, and he's the horse to beat Dragon Leap. Just depends on when Dragon Leap gets out, if he can beat him or not. But what do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't be taking $1.90 about Dragon Leap, but we said that about Pris de Fer a couple of weeks ago and got egg on our face. So, not a race I'm overly keen on, but I'll follow you in on Sherwood Forest. They're owned by some good people that I know, so be cheering it on their behalf. So
he's a natural
Sherwood
start.
Forest Sherwood Forest in the Guineas in the Cup, race 7, the Joe McDonald Avondale Cup. Pretty even betting field this, and I think you've identified one at a bit of value.
Yeah, I've gone for Starry Beale, actually. I thought his win last out at Te Tika, even though it was just a sit sprint, his sectionals, he ran home in 34.84 and 11.58 for his last 200 metres. And those are sort of times, closing splits he was running at Ellerslie when he won the Dunstan Feeds last year. And Stephen Marsh mentioned on trackside that what did he say? He said, I thought his work this morning was awesome. He's going super, and I think he's a real lightweight chance in the Cup. And I have to agree. He's drawn to sort of map about 3 back on the fence. There won't be a hell of a lot of pace. And the favourites, Platinum Invader, he's carrying plenty of pudding, and Concert Hall's drawn out wide, and Intrigue's drawn out wide. Maybe wants a dead 4-5 track to beat some of these horses, but I thought $15 was terrific value.
I heard Cambridge Tracks by Bernard Kneebone back on his return to radio trackside with Mark Clayton yesterday afternoon, and he labelled Starry Beale as well. So great minds think alike, perhaps, on that one, Neil. And as you say, $15, you don't have to put a hell of a lot on to get a decent return.
Yeah, no, we'll find out Saturday afternoon. But just there's negatives against the favourite, so a lot of positives for him. And when he won his races at Awapuni and Ellerslie that time, he looked like a really good horse. Went to Aussie, didn't fire over there. So back here, maybe we'll see a big run from him. And last week's sports selection, we had the Highlanders. We won't mention too much about them, shall we, until later on?
No, they were pretty, well,
you got an interesting analysis of that, haven't you?
Well, we might as well we'll mention it and go into the sports selection for this week, because this week's sports selection is the Highlanders. We're going again, Neil.
Yeah.
Maybe crazily, but away this week to the Brumbies, paying $2.55 head to head. I don't think they'll play I don't think they played that badly. I'll be straight up. I think just the way the game unfolded, and they got behind, and then it's pretty hard to play catch up. And so I'm willing to give them another crack, but like a horse, fresh up, disappointed, but give them another crack. And I think I saw enough there that says that they can still beat the Brumbies, even though it's away. So that's Saturday, 9:15 p.m. Highlanders head-to-head at $2.55. We'll go again and see how that treats us. Now, we also did get to spend a bit of time with the owners of Te Akau Shark, and a lot of them, as the name suggests, is connected to the Cronulla Sutherland Rugby League Club, the Sharks. And I think they were telling you, Neil, being a big Warriors fan, that they can't see the Warriors featuring in this year's NRL. Hopefully you can take that news okay, or are you're not going to be jumping off any bridges, I hope?
No, we're staying clear of bridges anyway. So you don't expect much from them. You expect something from the Warriors, but you don't expect them to win the NRL this year. But they played the occasional good game. I see they've written a petition or a letter from Blair to the coach to say they want to play a more open game rather than a more defensive game. My brother was telling me that, so that'll be interesting to see what happens about that. So, bit of mutiny against the coach, for the sounds of it. Not mutiny, but the team wants to play a more positive game. So time will tell. Right, brickbats, bouquets. Got any bouquets? There's an app you were telling me about before. That sounds really interesting.
Oh, like that app, yeah. Tribe, I think, as the sports season is coming in, just find it here on my phone. Tribe, free to download, your destination for sport. You can load up all your teams. So I've got the Hurricanes, I've got Taranaki, I've got Queensland, I've got a couple of NFL teams, NRL, AFL, Taranaki, All Blacks, all sorts of different things on there. And then basically when any of those teams are playing, you get live notifications. You can then click on and watch live commentary coming through. So yeah, good little app for the sports fan. Right. As we're more and more out and about and away from perhaps TV, and you can still keep up to date with how your teams are going. The rugby, what's it called? FMG Stadium now at Hamilton. We were hosted there on Saturday night, Chiefs Crusaders game, and they built these new sort of little corporate suites at the river end of the ground, just above the dead ball line, and you're looking down the field.
Yeah,
I thought it was a great view, actually. You can see where there's space, etc. So a new initiative. It got me thinking now, where could you build viewing areas for racecourses that would create a different sort of look and feel and experience for customers there? But no, I thought those new corporate suites that they built, very good, very enjoyable.
How about the inside of tracks?
Well, that's the obvious. You think of like on Flemington on Melbourne Cup Day, huge marquees on the inside there up the straight, even just past the post. So I guess it'd be a nice problem to have. Probably most clubs at the moment can't fill their current stands, etc. So creating new ones probably not the best use of money. But big ups to the FMG Stadium at Hamilton and the people that went along. It was good fun, actually. Really enjoyed it.
Great. Okay.
You've got one?
Yeah, I've got a brickbat and a bouquet with the Love Racing replays now of most New Zealand races. You'll get the stewards vision, head on, side on, rear on, right throughout the whole race. It's really good. And you can get it on YouTube, which enlarges the replays. It's terrific. But I'd like to see it improve maybe, and if, like on racing.com, they'll have the interview with the winning rider coming back as the horse is pulled up, coming back to the birdcage, and they'll talk to have the interview separately on the website. So that would be good to even just keep the tape rolling, like it with Two Elizabeth, with Vinnie Colgan and Leith Innes, I think the other day at Te Rapa. They had good interviews there with them. It would have been good to have had those for people to see in future times. So not a hard thing to do, but it'd be good to have.
More information, the better.
Yeah, like on RaceNet, they give the comments from all riders on a Saturday meeting, in a Sydney meeting, all riders of all races. Just great information. So when you sit down and go through the replays and all the sections and everything, you're getting the good comments from the riders as well. So all information, that's what we need. Yep.
Speaking of information and questions, we had 6 astute people come up with the correct answer of who ran second to Sunline in 2001 in the Waikato Draft Sprint.
And the answer was?
The answer, Fritz. So of those 6 people, we will go with the first cab off the rank this week, number 1.
Ray. Well done, Ray. Get your multi on tomorrow. I'll put it up tomorrow morning, and I'm going to try like hell to get this one. So fingers crossed. Right. Nothing else. We've got LZ races tomorrow.
No, we've got to do a question for
question.
Next week.
Oh, yeah. What
new question?
Question is?
Yeah. The question is who was the last horse to complete the Avondale Guineas New Zealand Derby double? So a horse that won both those races not too far ago. So if you know the answer to that, get those into Neil via text or email by Monday night, and you could be next week's winner.
Yeah, 027 352 6402 or FormPro at formpro.co.nz, and you'll get that $20 multi on next week. Right, we've got LZ races tomorrow. Gee, we're lucky with the weather, aren't we? Getting these decent tracks. It's just the biggest problem is getting enough water to put on them.
Yeah, I think you'd have to be. I don't think you can hide from the fact that horse numbers are a problem at this time of the year. Few races being canned within programs. We've got a 4-horse field today. We've had small fields at a few different meetings recently. And I guess it's just a reflection of this good weather, the hard tracks, no given the tracks. So tough for trainers waiting for horses that need just that little bit of jar out of the tracks. And they'll probably, when the rain comes in March and we get a dead track or 2, then you'll see some big numbers appearing at the races. Here's I was going to say an interesting, but probably a worrying stat for you, Neil.
Mm-hmm.
There have been 100 less horses this season line up in total. So of any horse that's had 1 or more race starts, 100 less season to date this season to last season.
Gee. Not
so
a good sign.
It is a declining industry in that regard in terms of horse numbers. So I think we'll see a few more changes to the calendar and the programs, etc., next year with that stat in mind.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, well, hopefully the Dean McKenzie and his team can get things going and get all these laws changed so it starts giving people that positive frame of mind to invest and get breeding again. But on a different note, those people out there, I know there's a few movie fans out there. I watched the Academy Awards the other day, and I was amazed that Parasite beat 1917. That 1917 movie is a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. It's a really good story, great cinematography. So when that Parasite comes out, I've got to watch that, even though it's a subtitle movie. It must be a must-see movie, especially if you have seen 1917. Have you seen 1917? Are you a movie buff?
No, I don't really go to the movies, but
Movie.
just out of interest, do they take betting on the Academy Awards?
They do. I was actually watching the betting on Betfair.
Yeah, I was thinking that you might have. So, what price was Parasite?
Well, Parasite was about $3 but when it got the 2 early awards for the best director and something else, it came into favoritism. Yeah, just below 1917. So you could see it was going to win it, based on the betting. Well, it didn't for sure, but it was with those 2 awards, it had to get the best movie award. So it's always interesting. You can bet on the politics in America and all sorts of things on there. It's great.
Absolutely. Now, one last thing before we sign off, Neil. Yep. On behalf of all your loyal and faithful subscribers, a very happy birthday for yesterday.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah. I'm going to celebrate it this morning too. Going to have one of those, some subscribers or reviewers have done it before, a Zen dunking, where you soak lion salted water. It's like the Red Sea. That's one of the seas is full of salt, and you just float on the top and just blow about for half an hour. Looking forward to that. So I'll report back next week and give them a good plug if I survive it. The salt.
Excellent.
Stinging a bit. Oh, thanks for that. No, it's good to have our birthday. Not many people sort of get to their 62nd birthday, so I'm good to have it. I'm pleased to have it. So, no, thanks for that. And you have a good day at the races today, Wanganui.
Yeah. I don't really need to say too much. That the weather's fine. Track's been well irrigated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So small fields, not exactly superstars running around, but a good day out, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'll be happy if Magic and Canto can be rated well in front and kick on and win. So I'm looking forward to that race. Right out. Oh, you have a good day there, and everyone have a good weekend. Go the Highlanders, and we'll catch up next week.